Hey y'all, I hope you're all having a great day.
Good afternoon. Nice winter day.
Yeah, we're still in our sleeveless outfits.
Yeah.
Because y'all, we're here in North Florida, and it's still pretty warm, but we got cooler weather than we have had in a while,
Yeah.
and that's the truth.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Live and Laugh with Linda. I'm Linda.
And I'm Butch.
And we're going to do a Tuesday Talks little episode today. And what we're doing is being nostalgic, talking about how we grew up in the 50s and 60s, and just sharing some life stuff, you know? Some reflective memorabilia. That's good, don't you think that sounds good? We're excited. We love to be here. He's so excited I can't keep him still. I want you to look.
And you better hurry up.
Y'all, before I go any further, I want to reach out to you and just please remind y'all to pray for the people down here in Florida. We are presently waiting for the next hurricane, the Milton, to come through. It's already at a category 5. It's not going to be a harm to us, but down around Tampa. So please be in prayer for them, and then all the people that's still suffering from Helene.
In the Carolinas and
Carolinas and all the things. And well, anyway, we just want to go ahead and get started, all right? So today, I have another one of my fun Thanksgiving, I guess, fall, autumn cups. I love this green. Don't y'all love that green? And I'm just sipping on water. What you got, babe?
Well, I have a blue cup, and I have water in it, and ice, and I have a dog in my lap.
We always have a dog in our lap somehow, and that's the truth. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to give, we always have life lessons. Y'all, if you've lived 5 minutes, you got a life lesson. So my life lesson today, for me and for anybody who wants to grab it, is live in the minute more. Don't worry about tomorrow. It's not even here yet. Do what you can do for today, but slow down and live in the minute more, appreciating smaller things. Do you have one, dear, besides eat pork?
Work on my boat.
Always work on your boat when you, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, I go back to friendships. You know, friendships come and go, but there's a certain number of friendships that always hangs in there, and it's like if you haven't seen them in 10 years, it's just like you only seen them in the last 10 minutes.
Yep.
They're just long lasting, and I have several friends like that, and it's good. It's good. Just slow down and embrace the friendship, because never know. You never know.
Yep. I mean, we're to the age we're hearing about some of our friends are here today and gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
So be mindful of that. Pick up the phone and call a buddy. Pick up the phone and call a buddy if you can.
Yeah.
And it'll be worth it. I promise you. All right. So Butch was born in 1950. We've covered a little bit about how he grew up in the hills of Kentucky, the foothills of Kentucky, but around Louisville, Kentucky. They had a little farm. And it was like in a holler, but not a real one, more like a valley.
Yeah, it was valley.
So today, I'm going to ask him a couple specific questions like this. Growing up, Butch Walker, who influenced you the most? Role models.
I would have to say it's my namesake, my dad's brother, Clayton. And he was a very unique man, but he was a go-getter. If he's had a vision for something, he went for it and drug my dad behind him, because my dad was a doer. My Clayton, my uncle, he had an imagination and a vision. A vision.
What? That's quite a testimony to his Uncle Clayton, which is your namesake. Your name is Clayton David. We call you Butch. But I just want to throw this out there. Roxanne, if you're watching this, you should be very proud, because your daddy was one of Butch's most influential role models. Isn't that the truth?
Yes.
Okay. To put out a question. What is something, we did this in another episode, but we're trying to think of things that we had when we were growing up that are completely non-existent now. I mean, the kids today wouldn't know what in the world we was talking about. So I want to go first on this one, okay?
Sure. Yep.
Hey, you know I like to talk.
Yeah.
Do y'all, any of y'all remember S&H green stamps? If you do, send me a comment about it. Just send me a comment about it because they were the most fun things. Butch and I have talked about this before. What you would do was you went to the grocery store, and we had a Kroger where we lived, and depending on how much money you spent, they'd give you these green stamps and a stamp book that you would put those stamps in, and you'd save up stamps for a gift. And usually right next door to the Kroger was the S&H Green Stamp store. And that's when you took your stamp booklets in there and you picked out what you wanted to do. They had all the merchandise in there. Also had catalogs. That you could look through at home and, this is 3 books of stamps, this is whatever. And it was so much fun. Butch, you told me, what did your mom let y'all do with the S&H green stamps when you get them?
We would put once we if they were loose, then we put them in a book like Linda said, and then Mom gave us like 3 stamps every time we went to the store, and we kept those, and we used those to go and buy something we wanted for ourselves. And it could be like 6 stamps, could be like, I don't know,
Piece of candy.
A piece of candy or Jacks or something like that, which nobody plays Jacks anymore.
There's another one.
And so that's what it was. It was fun. You go there and they had this display centers like a jewelry shop, and it was just
it was a fun thing. We weren't too particular back when we were growing up. We didn't have video games or anything like that.
Yeah.
Mom kept all her S&H green stamp books and the stamps. Most of the time she didn't have time to put the stamps in. And she put them in the drawer there in the kitchen. And so then she would let me and my sister sit down and in the afternoon, and you had to lick them on the back. And we would put them in the books. That is a memory that I have. And do you want to think on a memory that something that we don't have anymore that we had then?
A rotisserie phone.
Not a rotisserie,
Not
I don't know what they called it. A dial.
Rotary phone.
He said he thinks food, y'all. Rotisserie is the chickens at the store. I mean, okay. Yeah, dial thing, yeah.
Dial, yeah. Yeah, we had a party line on it, and but everybody was real polite in using it. Nobody hogged it, but it was good.
You probably don't know what a party line is. Let's just tell you. All right, but we didn't have push button phones, and they didn't have enough numbers. There was no area code. Your numbers were smaller, like 3 numbers was your phone, maybe 4.
I think it was 5. It started off like 4 or 5 numbers.
Yeah.
And then, because you'd always dial 0 for the operator, then you tell the operator their number.
Yep. Tell him the number. Number, please, she would say. Yeah. And so some people had the same phone number.
Yeah.
So you had to share. It was a party line. And so it worked out okay. You don't even know these people. Listen, I used to pick up the phone on their time, and I would listen to their conversations, and it was very juicy, but that was not a good thing to do. Yeah, rotary phones. You had to dial. Yeah. We've already talked about how Butch's dad and his brother, Charles and Clayton, had a really rough childhood. It was in the 30s, and just really, really rough childhood. Their daddy wasn't a father or anything, and he enjoyed his booze, isn't that the truth? And every once in a while, he would drop those 2 boys. Sometimes they'd live in a car, but he'd drop those 2 boys off at the orphanage nearby, and he'd go off on either a binge or he'd get a job, and he worked at the circus and all that. We talked about that before. And then later on, a couple months, he'd come pick them up, and they'd go about it again. They were also leased out to the coal mines, and that's what they did back in those days. They leased, the orphanages would lease children out, get paid for it, And they'd put those children in really tight places and crevices in the coal mines that adults couldn't get to. Terrible.
They were referred to as veins.
Yes. Terrible home upbringing. But then the two boys, this is where I want to get to. They decided, they ran away from that at some point, and then when they got old enough, or really they were a little bit underage, the World War II came along and they joined the Army. And you're going to take it up from there.
Yeah, I think Dad was the first one because he was the oldest, and he went in and they assigned him his service to be in the Asian
Pacific.
And my uncle, later on when he joined, he went in the other. He went into the European. And but when they got out,
they lived.
they lived, did well, learned a lot of trades.
You told me one time that was the first time your dad had something good happen to him.
Yeah, it really was in both of their lives. I just had a lot of respect for my dad and my uncle.
Well, I was going to ask you to tell, what did they get together after they got out of the Army and decide to go to make a living at? They did get some thinking. They didn't have anything but whatever. It's the first time they'd ever had really any money of their own because they were paid by the military. Yeah. And when they got out, they said, let's do this. Yeah. Brilliant thinking, y'all. That's what you call the American dream.
Yeah.
Briefly tell us where they went and everything.
Yeah, they stuck together like brothers. And my uncle, again, he had this vision. Automotive business was growing. It was the military development was falling off. In other words, they quit making tanks, they quit making Jeeps, and they started making cars again. Got the idea, let's go to Detroit. Once they had self-confidence that they could do this on their own, and they
started a business.
They rented one little booth, one little place. They could pull a car in there and work on it in bad weather. And
then in 1954, we were told that they had enough money to buy their first little old place. And what was it?
It was a Sunoco station.
Old Sunoco station in the south part of Louisville.
It was a two-bay. One had a lift, and the other one was just a regular booth. And then he gradually built onto it and built onto it and built onto it. And
became Walker Brothers. Paint and body shop. Let me tell you, y'all, these guys were honest, they were ethical, they did good work. They didn't have hardly any education, but they were willing to work hard and have integrity doing it. And that body shop ended up being the largest body shop
in the state of
Kentucky. And they had a reputation that just was fabulous. And it's such a testimony. In fact, it got so, when all the boys, y'all all worked in it and everything, but he had...
And my sister and my cousin.
Yep. Now his sister ended up, when all the boys, or the men, decided they really didn't want to fool with it anymore, and they had other careers, his sister took that place on and decided to make it something unique, something different, and a collision repair place that would cater to women. Hey, raise your hand if you hate going to those kind of places where all the men are, and it's filthy
Playboy
and dirty and all that.
up.
Yeah. So she just did a beautiful job. We're so proud of what she did.
And the uniqueness with that, the Louisville, what was the paper there? Louisville Courier
What's the name of the
Journal
newspaper there?
got wind of it and went out and did a big article on my sister's improvement that she did on the shop.
Yeah, she doesn't own it anymore. She's kind of retired from that too, and another whole company owns it. It's still there. Well, y'all, the main thing I want to point out about this family story is this. Only in America could two guys like this rise up out of ashes and make something happen for themselves. They made a business for their families for several generations. They made a living. They had a good reputation, and they did it out of nothing but their brains, a few dollars, and they started something that's always been said, with a lunchbox full of tools.
Yeah.
America. That's just a wonderful. Listen, these two guys, both of them died of lung cancer and originated from the black lung and all that. But they didn't have a chance. Their lungs did not have a chance. They were in the coal mines as boys, and then they
rolled their own cigarettes.
They were smoking from a young age all the way to the day they died. And then the third thing was that paint and body shop, that's a dust. In fact, you tried to work in it when we first got married, and you had such bad lungs. I mean, we got you out of there because I don't know how. But anyway, that was those days. Y'all, thank you so much for joining us. Listen, this is Live and Laugh with Linda. I'm Linda.
I'm Butch.
And for the most part, we do a little bit of everything on this channel because I believe life is a precious gift and should be celebrated. My motto is Proverbs 17:22. A joyful heart does good like a medicine. Isn't that the truth? Find some joy in your life today. Find something to smile about, and we will see you next time. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you for listening to me.